Wife and I have been together for 7 years now, but married for only 2. She's always had a very weird rivalry with her younger sister, who's 12 years younger, which I've mostly ignored until now. She's gotten therapy for it in the past, but it hasn't seemed to help or change much. So, some background. Her younger sister is incredibly smart apparently, valedictorian in her class. She's the president of several student organizations according to my wife. Last year, there was an issue where a kid in her school was claiming discrimination of some kind in an election thing her sister oversaw. It turned into nothing once the school investigated. Just plain old teenager drama. But my wife weirdly latched on to that one event. She used it as proof that her younger sister isn't as great as everyone claims her to be. Fast forward to now. Her sister is applying to all of the top Ivy Leagues and all the top universities in the US. She has a high chance of getting in, according to her school counselors and my in-laws, since she's won so many national awards in science, math, and she has great grades along with plenty of extracurriculars. I've talked to her myself, and it was heartwarming to see her so excited to graduate. A few days ago, I noticed my wife fidgeting all day, and I asked her what's up. We're just having dinner like normal, but she acts twitchy and nervous, like she's got something on her mind. She kind of hem-haws for a while, and then tells me that this morning she sent out a bunch of anonymous letters to the top universities, basically giving them a play-by-play of the drama that happened last year at her sister's school, with the tone blaming her sister for causing the issue. She implored the schools to watch out for her sister's name when they eventually receive her application. She tells me that she feels like her sister is going to get away without anyone looking into her actions. I'm shocked, since nothing happened in the end. The girl even apologized to her sister in the end for making things up because of petty teenage stuff. I asked my wife if she sent the letters, and she said yeah. Now, I'm not too familiar with the college application process nowadays, but I'm sure what my wife did won't be good. We fight for a bit because I demanded my wife tell her parents and sister, but she cries and accuses me of always being on their side. I tell her I'm not, but she's twisting what was a minor event into a huge thing that could sabotage her own sister's chances at college. I'm honestly horrified, and I still am at my wife's actions. Anyways, that night I did go ahead and message my in-laws myself, because my wife absolutely refused, and to be honest, I was furious at her. I didn't say much, just that my wife had sent out these letters, and I thought they should know in case it does affect anything. Obviously, they call my wife, and she flips out at me, telling me that I betrayed her and that she always knew I'd do this. We're still fighting, but for the first time in years, I really feel like my wife is inexcusably wrong. Instead of wanting to get on her good side, I'm content just ignoring her for the time being, and I feel like I've been naive to this side of her. I don't know what to do. Am I overreacting? Did I make a mistake telling my wife's parents? Part of me feels like I should have kept my mouth shut, but I was so mad that night, I went ahead and did it without telling her. Did I make a mistake? This reminds me of the musician whose girlfriend faked rejection letters from prestigious schools so he would stay with her. He won more than $250,000 in a lawsuit against her. Her parents should contact the sister's high school counselor and let them deal with the institutions. Your wife is seriously deranged, and you know it. You need to think long and hard about what your future with this woman will be. How could you trust her not to try similar tactics when she disagrees with a career choice you've made or decisions about family? She's proven impervious to counseling, but individual counseling might do you some good. You need to also go ahead and suggest that your wife's parents and sister immediately put your wife in an information diet. She's no longer to be trusted with information about her sister, since she can't be trusted not to actively try and sabotage an innocent gifted person's future because of her jealousy. So, Cliff Note version. My father left my family when I was 9 and my brother was 6. Turns out, he had been having an affair on my mother for years. He ended up marrying the lady he had the affair with. They then had a child together, my sister, when I was 15. Although my relationship with my father has been strained at best, I have adored my baby sister and always considered us very close. I have taken her back to school shopping, bought her prom dresses, flown her out through every terrible dating disaster and breakup. We have spent hours and years talking, laughing, watching comedies, etc. I have always considered our relationship a good one, and always thought she was the silver lining from the whole affair situation. I would not trade her for anything. I am very proud of her. She started dating a guy, who I like a lot, and they got engaged. I was over the moon excited, and immediately contacted her to see about bridal dress shopping, venues, etc. I know it is terrible, but I assumed I was going to be her matron of honor. She was mine because she is my only sister. I had big plans for her bachelorette party and was very excited to do all of these tasks together. She let me know via text that not only was I not the matron of honor, I am not in the wedding at all. She is having 6 bridesmaids and I didn't make the cut. I was very hurt by this, the message, and being texted this information. I decided to just be direct and call her about it. I let her know I respected her decision, and I had no doubt her big day would be beautiful and perfect, and she has every right to choose who she wants. I was just hurt it wasn't me, and it would take me some time to adjust. She told me she still expects me to throw her bachelorette party and wants me to fly across the country to go wedding dress shopping. She just said she would never have put me in her bridal party because I am too old. So, in short, she still wants me to throw and pay for things like I was the matron of honor. Just, she does not want me standing beside her on her big day. I told her that she chose someone else as her matron of honor, and I was not going to step on their toes by taking over their job when it was not given to me. She chose someone else over me, and I was going to let them do their thing. I would buy a nice wedding present and look forward to seeing her on her big day, but that if I am not in the bridal party, I am not going to try and act like I am. Am I wrong in my reaction? Really don't want this to be a rift between us. She definitely has a right to pick whoever. I was just surprised. However, I also have self-respect and do not think I have to be passed over but still pay for things and do all of the work for the bridal party without the privilege of being named. I also just feel that I must have failed at our relationship, that she does not consider us close, I guess, and doing lots of reflecting on that. Looking forward to thoughts and advice on moving forward here. Really want to feel okay about this and be classy about the whole situation. This happened to me. My younger sister did a semi-last-minute wedding, 2 months from planning to event. She has no contact with my parents, so I really tried to step in. She assigned me a bunch of things, getting menus printed, finding vendors, ordering and assembling decorations, etc. And I volunteered for things, threw her a wedding shower, gave her money, etc. She had her wedding in the town I live in. She lives several states away, and she asked to stay at my house. I figured she just wasn't having bridesmaids because of the short time frame. Got to the wedding, and there were bridesmaids. I'm almost a decade older, so I thought it was just that. But then my older sister and older sister-in-law were bridesmaids. What I did was put on a smile, had fun, ate good food, went home and cried, and then went low contact. I'm not sure what will work for you, but don't allow someone to use you. It's really painful. You're absolutely correct in your response. Her comment that you're too old is BS, but as you said, she's allowed to pick whomever she pleases to stand up with her. However, yes, you are not her mother, and you are not in the quite large, 6 is big in my opinion, bridal party. Therefore, it's not your responsibility to do any of the work of arranging showers or bachelorette parties, or dress shopping, or anything else that the wedding party does. It's entirely appropriate for you to attend the bridal shower as a close female relative, and somewhat same with attending bachelorette, if the bride decides to invite you. But she can have the one she's chosen do all that work for her, and you can enjoy sitting back and just having fun at the wedding yourself. So me, 26 female, and my husband, 28 male, who I'll call Jake for this story, have been together for 5 years and married for 3. We have recently started trying for a baby, as we both felt that was the next step in our life together. And 3 weeks ago, I got a positive test back. We were really happy and told our families. And now my mom and mother-in-law want to throw a big baby shower for us. It was just super good news all around. Well, 2 nights ago, me and Jake were getting ready for bed when he reminds me to go through the house and make sure all the lights are off. Now, he can be a little lazy at times, and it has become a nightly routine for me to make sure all the lights are off that he leaves on before we go to bed. I wasn't feeling very well and asked if he could just do it since he wasn't doing anything and was literally standing by the door. He then tells me, "No, this is what is expected of you every night." I was a little hurt, but I didn't want to fight with him, so I just did it. When I came back, Jake goes on this very long and unprovoked rant saying things like, "Just because you are pregnant does not mean anything will change," and "You are still expected to cook, clean, and do all the chores every day, because how can you be expected to be a mother if you can't handle a little work?" He wasn't yelling or anything. He was talking to me quietly like I was 2 inches tall. I was shocked because I had never heard him say anything like this. The rant went on for about 30 minutes before I interjected and asked, "Well, what do you plan on doing to help me with all of this?" He then got extremely defensive, saying he works his butt off at his job to provide for me and what is going to be our future children. For context, I don't work at the moment. My job was not paying enough to justify me going, so I am a full-time college student. He ended by saying that it doesn't matter how I feel physically or mentally. It is a mother's job to push through, and if he helped and babied me, I wouldn't be a good mother. I got extremely upset and started yelling, and I said that I wish I would have known this is how you felt before I got pregnant with your baby. There was a moment of silence before he started crying, and he left for the night to stay at his mother's house. He hasn't been back yet, and my mother-in-law and sister-in-law have been calling me, berating me, and saying I broke Jake's heart with what I said, and I need to apologize immediately. And until I do, he isn't coming home. I don't know how to feel. So, am I the a-hole for yelling at my husband after he said he isn't helping me with anything during the pregnancy because it's a mother's job to deal with it? Girl, get an A and a divorce ASAP. This man just told you who he really is, and things are about to get a whole lot worse. Run. I'm not comfortable even suggesting that anyone get an A, as that's too personal to take advice from strangers on. But this guy is terrifying. Those were crazy, huge red flags for future aggression. Husband and I found out last week we're pregnant with our first. We've been married for just over 5 years and have been trying for the last 2. Over the last year, we've been working with a fertility specialist and tried different treatments. Then, last week, everything finally came to fruition. We are beyond excited and terrified, but very elated with the news. Bit of backstory. Husband and I are both mid-30s, and I moved country 7 years ago to be with him, so I am currently living away from all my immediate family and childhood friends. Both of my parents passed in my early 20s, and I only have an older brother whom I am very close to. Brother is married with 2 beautiful kids that I love and adore. Brother's wife is another story. We get along, but it's more that I just tolerate her to keep things kosher. She's not the nicest person and is rather self-serving and condescending, but again, it's my brother's wife, so I've always just kept my opinions to myself. Fast forward to yesterday, the day we called my brother to share the good news. It just so happened that my brother was at our cousin's house. We grew up with these cousins and are very close to them. When I rang and they were in the background, I was so excited that they were there to hear the news. After a minute of the "Hi, how are yous?" and "I miss yous," I asked if everyone could hear me, and then said, "I'm pregnant." My nieces started yelling, "OMG, yay!" My cousins started clapping and cheering, and my brother shouted, "Finally! So happy for you guys! That's the best news!" Within 20 seconds of making our long-awaited announcement, my sister-in-law blurts out that her younger sister is also pregnant and due in April. I could hear my brother and one of my cousins ask when our due date is, and I replied, early September. But then my sister-in-law kept talking over me and saying how her sister was due in April. Mind you, this is my family, my brother and our cousins, not her blood relatives. It made me feel like she was trying to take away the excitement and moment of our big announcement. Once the gleeful shouting calmed down a bit, sister-in-law asked if we were having a boy or girl. It's still too early to tell, but we said we're going to wait till the birth to find out the sex. Her response was, "That's annoying. How am I supposed to know what kind of clothes to send you?" I just said she'll have to wait like the rest of us to find out, and responded to the other questions and comments that were being directed to husband and I. I just wanted to vent, because this was a huge deal for me to be able to make this announcement, and I just felt like she tried to rain on my parade. Honestly, I would be annoyed, but congratulations, and it doesn't dim the happiness or excitement of telling everyone there. I'm guessing your brother, cousins, and probably even your nieces saw it for what it was, a pathetic attempt to take the attention off you. How is she supposed to know what clothes to buy an infant that doesn't give a crap and is happy to puke and crap in said clothes all day? Really, sister-in-law? Your birth isn't about her convenience or making sure her precious fifis aren't annoyed. You do you.